Hi, how are you today? This is Peter Christian Hessing again, and welcome to another one of our Peter Christian Hessing Save the World Talent programs. And I hope you're having a good day and that God and Jesus or Allah is blessing you and you're succeeding in everything that you're doing. I want to say a special support and prayer for a lot of my friends. Some are in the hospital facing intensive care, and we really have to pray for their speedy recovery and pray that all of us have health. And I was just able to look at the Democratic presidential 2016 presidential debates last night. A lot of you saw it, and they talked a lot about ending poverty there. There was Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, Mr. Marley, former governor of Maryland, and Mr. Chaffee, former governor there, and senator and mayor, and also Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders, and Mr. Webb, their former governor from Virginia. Yeah, I do support the idea that we really have to end poverty in America. We have probably more than 40 million people who are poor in America. If you travel across America, I work a lot sometimes in Los Angeles. I go up to Hollywood. We do some videos and music and radio and TV and maybe the performing film. And if you really go up to Hollywood and you see so many people there in Los Angeles, people sleeping on the street because they can't afford housing. There it's very bad in Los Angeles and Hollywood. We also used to do social work in New York, and I worked as a social worker. We actually would go into the streets and we would actually try to persuade people um, to come from the streets. These are homeless people. We would persuade them to, and we would take them to a shelter and give them 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They could get a change of clothes, and give them drug counseling, help them to find jobs, and so forth. We really need to end poverty in America, and the idea of raising the minimum wage up to $15, I think, is a good idea, and also, having free college tuition in our community colleges and in our public universities. That's also a very good idea. I am still trying to pay off some of my college loans, and I'm still trying to get a degree from Harvard, a master's degree. And I know how difficult it is for a lot of poor people who will have to be paying this debt for the rest of their lives. So if you can eliminate this college debt, that would be a good idea. Free education for a lot of people. And you see what's happening now in Europe, where all these poor immigrants are leaving or fleeing from the civil war in Syria, from Libya, from Africa, Iran, Iraq, the Middle East, Turkey. A lot of them fleeing into Europe. You have over 7 million Syrian refugees there, and one of the main reasons is poverty, and we definitely have to have poverty in the world. I said that the World Bank and the IMF need to set up individual accounts for these people. You have nearly probably 6 billion poor people in the world, and the IMF, the World Bank, all these big banks, central banks, the European Central Bank, we have the Federal Reserve here. The IMF, the World Bank, gets nearly $1 trillion or $800 billion a year to help these governments, and it is very good that they can help the governments. But you figure that they have $800 billion. We only have 6 billion people who are poor in the world, and if you were to say
invest $10 for these 6 billion people so that they can have a website and start a business, that would just be $60 billion out of a revenue of nearly 800 billion dollars that the IMF and the World Bank has. And if they were just to invest that $10 for each poor person in the world, which would probably be about $60 billion, that money could be used to set up a business for people to sell a product. If everybody in the world sold one product, you have people that would sell their own music, like for instance, people selling their own music alone could end poverty in the world. So a lot of things can be done here in America. I think one of the only ways you really will end poverty in America, one of the main ways, is to have these people set up their own businesses. A business is a job. If we were to create 40 million businesses by giving temporary business license or temporary low income incorporations here in America to people who are poor. We have nearly 40 million poor people here, and if the federal government and all the Congress and the state government decided, okay, we are going to allow 40 million people who are poor to get temporary business low income incorporations in their states so they can have a website or be on a website where they can sell a product. You can sell one or two products. People just selling their own music could bring them out of poverty, or selling their own writings or poetry or artwork, selling certain products. Everybody sold one or two products and had a legal business that was supported by low-income incorporations that we could bring them out of poverty. And that is what the government needs to do here in America. Let all these people have their own businesses. That's 40 million low-income businesses. That's 40 million jobs. A business is a job, and if you have to maintain a website, you would have a website where these people would be able to be listed as and have temporary low-income incorporations or temporary business licenses that they could sell a product that would bring them out of poverty. So I strongly believe that this is one of the only ways that you're going to really end poverty in America and around the world. I also wanted to talk about this crisis around the world. The Syrians somewhere there. I've been speaking a lot about having this 24/7 inspection, safety inspection system of all the nuclear weapons in the world so as to prevent accidental nuclear war. And as you see now in Syria, that there's a great possibility of an accidental nuclear war between America and Syria. The Russians have gone into Syria now, and they have started bombing people that are supported by America. And that is posing now a situation where you could have America and Russia starting either accidental nuclear war, accidental conventional war. So you see, there is not a need to have this 24/7 safety inspection of all the nuclear weapons in the world on a 24/7 basis by the International Atomic Agency to ensure that none of these countries uses nuclear weapons, that the Russians don't do it. We are not going to do it here in America. And you have the Chinese, and you have India and Pakistan really needs the system because they are constantly on the verge of nuclear war on a daily basis, and also North Korea. We really need it in North Korea because, I mean, North Korea and South Korea nearly had a war a couple of days ago, and there's a constant military confrontation between North and South Korea. So we really need to have this 24/7 safety inspection system to prevent accidental nuclear war between Russia and America, and to have nuclear disarmaments. The next presidential the next president of the United States is going to have the opportunity to negotiate this 24/7 safety inspection system with the Russians, and also it is important that we include the Chinese, the British, the French, the North and the North Koreans, and India and Pakistan, and Britain and France, all the nuclear powers in this negotiation, so that you can reduce nuclear weapons and we can have nuclear disarmament. We really have to reduce the amount of nuclear weapons that you have in the world. And that needs to be done. And I really want to say that I was telling you that we have a book coming out, and I'm working on it. It's nearly finished, which is the 24/7 safety inspection treaty to save the world from nuclear war and also global warming. I want also to address that we have a big situation now with global warming. We have that the ice caps are melting, and as I told you years ago, that we had invented a special and applied for a patent and got some copyrights on this special anti-nuclear system and on a food production system. And we need also to have a multitask system to prevent global warming. And what you would really have to do is to have this mobile system in the oceans. And I think one of the things we're going to have to start to do is to negotiate with all these oil companies, some of the oil companies who are drilling for oil in the oceans. And one of the things I think we should definitely be doing is giving them leases to drill for oil. If we give them leases to drill for oil, one of the leases, or some of the leases, should give them a right to desalinate water out of the oceans, and they can store that water in their refineries, and they can sell that water to states like California who are in need of clear water. I think every reservoir is in need of water. And I think one of the things we have to start doing is having the oil companies, when we give them these leases, have them also desalinate some of the water out of the ocean. And they have barges, they have containers that they can store water in, and they can sell that water to states like California. All the states and all countries in the world need clean water, and they can sell that water. So this is something I think we're going to have to start to do to reduce the rising sea levels from global warming. We're really going to have to start to do that. I mean, we've been talking a lot about preventing global warming, but we're going to have to start to do that around the world, requiring and having the oil companies and having people start to desalinate some of the water in the ocean, definitely taking out some of that water and desalinating it, and they can sell that water back to the countries and to the states that are in need of water. Every country now is in need of clean water, so we will be able to keep down the rising sea levels there. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna talk more about this again. So again, let us make peace in the world, and as I said, Jesus says here that we have to love each other regardless and make peace. Thank you. God bless. Be the Christian Hessing. Give your heart and life to Jesus. Peace and love.